Dickens edited weekly and monthly magazines called All the Year Round and Household Words, and he often created serials in them, and he'd kick off by writing the first part, and then Mrs. Gaskell would write the second part, and Wilkie Collins would write the third part, and then Dickens would come in again, and so on. And so he created these characters, and often they spoke in the first person. And the two one-person plays that I'm doing are derived by Dickens from these stories for his own public readings. And they were among the most popular of his shows in those phenomenally successful public readings that he did in the last 10 years of his life. And the one called Dr. Marigold was second only in popularity to A Christmas Carol. And it's not been seen for 150 years. Nobody's performed it, and it's a masterpiece. Mr. Chops is a very, very powerful parable about the exploitation of celebrity, curiously enough, about a dwarf in a fairground who wins the lottery and suddenly goes into high society and is, of course, used remorselessly until people are bored with him, and then he's thrown out again. And it's weirdly contemporary, the feeling of it. And then Dr. Marigold is a massive and complex story. It's an hour and something long, but one of the funniest things he ever wrote, one of the most startling, because it deals right at the centre of it with the idea of deaf and dumb people and how one, how they integrate into society, and then infinitely touching, and all done in the most dazzling patter, sales talk, really. Every single phase of the story is narrated by the travelling salesman, who is Dr. Marigold, in terms of buying and selling and exchanging and doing deals and all that. It's a virtuoso piece. It's fantastic to do. These stories, both of them in utterly different ways, are profoundly stirring in that way. You just long for us to have a Dickens who would be able to draw attention so strongly and clearly and unforgettably to the injustices in our society. I mean, he really does. He said somewhere that his intention was to produce in his readers and in his hearers the feeling, it must not be. I mean, there's no doubt anybody who's doing any show would like to say this, but in truth, it's hard to think of somebody to whom these plays wouldn't appeal, because they're very, very accessible as stories. They're so wonderfully told as stories. So really quite young people. We had people in the audience from 6, 7, 8 who were completely spellbound by it. People of a certain age, older people, absolutely adore the glorious use of language and the generosity of spirit. But really, anybody from any kind of class, from the, as we had in the audience, the Queen of the Netherlands came to see the show, was absolutely enchanted by it, and then big issue salesmen came to see it, and they loved it too. And that seems to be Dickens's constituency, is universal. I think you'll feel better and want to be a better person as a result of seeing these shows.